Welcome to this week's edition of Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Chi-Chen Lo. It's becoming more and more competitive in this globalized market. So how can Taiwan's economy survive and thrive in this world market? And this is the topic we want to talk about today. And our guest today is the President and CEO of Taiwan External Trade Development Council, TAITRA, President Yuen-Chuan. Mr. Chao, welcome to our program.
Hi, Dr. Lo.
As you understand that it's becoming more competitive now in Taiwan in terms of facing global economic competition, what are the major challenges for Taiwan now?
I think because labor cost very high, normally we are not only concentrate on labor costs, but production costs too high.
Yeah.
So if we want to compete with Chinese or Indian-made products, if we cannot produce unique products, we are very difficult to compete with them. So we have to find some way can make Taiwan products become unique and try to promote some niche industry. That's our aim.
And what would be the niche industries you are talking about?
For example, like service industry, because Taiwan's service industry is well developed. Maybe before, not too many people pay attention to this fact. But I do think service industry is one of the main industry we can develop and compete with other countries. For example, like in this month, I think our government, they just informed us a new project called Taiwan Medical Service Internationalization Project. I do think this medical service is one of the service industry sector. But I do think, for example, like medical service is a very important service industry in Taiwan.
We'll talk about the medical service sector later on. But as we know that most people believe that Taiwan is very good at the so-called computer, high-tech industries and so on. Are we still having that kind of advantage in this world market now?
Sure. Because Taiwan only, we move our manufacturing base to China or to India or to other Asian countries. But still, we are the dominant in this field. For example, maybe from today's newspaper, you can see the ASEAN country, they just mentioned by the end of this year, Japan and India will finish their negotiation with ASEAN. And maybe by the end of next year, they are finishing the negotiation with New Zealand, Australia, and Korea. Yes. And maybe before 2010, we're finishing the negotiation with China. So that means these 6 main Asian countries will finish their negotiation with ASEAN. It seemed it's a threat to Taiwan. But actually, I don't think it's very serious because we have high-tech industry. And this high-tech industry already well established in ASEAN countries.
I see. But that contradicts many of the traditional thinking, right? Most people believe that Taiwan seems to be marginalized in the process of regional integration. You know, ASEAN +1, +3, plus India, plus whoever, and Taiwan is being left out in the process of negotiation for FTAs. Do you think that Taiwan should continue to push for FTAs with those countries?
I think so. But however, it's not a very important issue. Why? Maybe lots of people, they don't know. We are one of the largest investor in China. This, I think, official figure is about 78,000 Taiwanese investors were established in China. Recently, I read a figure, Chinese top 20 largest, top 200 largest exporter in China, 32% from Taiwan.
I see.
From local, only 30%. Then Korea, maybe no more than 10%, and a Japanese company. That means Taiwanese company were established in China. And we are also the largest investor in Vietnam and Cambodia. And we are 3rd largest investor in Thailand and Malaysia. We are 5th largest investor in Indonesia and the Philippines. That means Taiwanese investor already were established in this Asian country. So even ASEAN +1, +2, even +6, but Taiwan, most of our manufacturing base already well established in this area.
But for some people, they are very concerned about the FTA between South Korea and the U.S. because some people believe that the economic structures between South Korea and Taiwan are quite similar. So South Korea having a better access to the U.S. market will be a more stronger competitor for Taiwan. Do you think that's the case?
Yes, especially in 3 fields. textiles, auto parts, and electronics field.
Yeah.
Because in these three fields, I think Korea, they are our very our main competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how about computers and other high-tech industries?
Because for our high-tech industry, especially in the information technology field, since we are very competitive, even Korean products, we are in different field. So I don't think, because there are about 17 items, we are number one in the world.
Yeah.
Most of them in IT industry.
That's right.
So that, and for these, our competitive, no other country can compete with Taiwan.
Yeah, but for some people, even on the information technology sector, Taiwan mainly OEMs, ODMs, but they don't have their brands and so on. So the value added is very minimal. What would be Taiwan's strategy in promoting Taiwan's brands abroad?
Yes, our government, since 5 years before, they already adopted a policy called Branding Taiwan Project. Branding Taiwan Project.
Okay.
So help Taiwanese manufacturers to have their own brand. So since 4 years before, we invite Interbrand, a company based in Singapore, to investigate the value of Taiwanese brand. Since then, most of Taiwanese companies, they try their best to build their international brand. So now, maybe now, for this year, until now, the top 100 international brand, among them about maybe 52 from the United States, 37 from Europe, and another 11 from Asia, 8 from Japan, 3 from Korea, no one from other Asian countries. But however, the last one, Hertz, rent car, I think the value, the international brand value is about $2.6 billion US dollars. But for Taiwan, I think the highest international brand is Asus, and their value already reached about 1.2 billion US dollar. Of course, we are only about half of Hertz. But however, the value increased tremendously and very rapid. So we hope in 5 years, maybe 1 or 2 Taiwanese international brands can enter the top 100 world international brand.
But what would be the most difficult parts in terms of branding Taiwan's products from your own experiences?
For my own, because to establish a brand costs lots of time and costs lots of money. And Taiwan, most of Taiwanese companies, they are medium and small. So I will say, maybe in barbecue set, maybe in bicycle, we are number one in bicycle. But if you compare with total value, then, because since we are medium and small, so some Taiwanese medium and small companies already, they are the king of that items, but very difficult to enter top 100. But this will cost much more time and energy.
But isn't that true that if we are already strong at some of the items and they are number one or even number 2 of that particular items, why don't we just focus on that particular item, for instance, bicycles and so on?
Yes, this is a very good policy. But if they want to mention, for example, the top 100 international brands, you cannot find any Taiwanese brand because compared with the value of the international brand, Taiwan cannot compare with other international brands.
As we know that companies like Samsung or Sony, they have very strong government support in branding that particular product or that company. And how does our government, do to help our local companies?
Yes, they choose several ways. First, give people the idea and give us lots, so they have lots of seminar, forum, and they invite lots of master and expertise just to teach Taiwanese manufacturers how to establish brand and how to manage brand, how to maintain brand, because this needs lots of technology and lots of money and energy to develop their own brand. And second, not only training, but also you must have a stage, like website. In the website, any company, if they want to have their own brand, they can get information from this website.
That's right.
Like training and legal problem and something. Any skill they can get from this website. And third, if they want some kind of financial support, there are 2 ways. One is they can borrow money from a foundation. Another is we have a fund called the Venture Capital Brand Fund. And this totally about $65 million US dollars. And TAITRA also invests about 100 million, 10 million US dollars. So for this venture capital company, if they investigate lots of medium small company, if they think this company are qualified to develop their brand, they will invest them, not lend money to them, just invest them.
I see.
So these are several ways our government try to help Taiwanese company to build their own brand.
Is there a target company that you're working on right now? In other words, which company do you think has a better chance to become one of the top 100 brands in the world?
I will say for this venture capital fund, since last July until now, we already investigate 243 companies. But among them, we only choose 2 companies.
Already?
And
which 2?
Very difficult to say, to announce their name. But I will tell you, for these 2 companies, one we invest about 100 million Taiwanese NT dollars. And another we invest 50 million NT dollars. But for others, some we are still considering. But hopefully, we can choose another 2 to 3 companies we will invest in.
So you do have some target companies you're hoping to help them to become an international brand?
But for this company, I will say not international brand because they're medium and small. Only to have the brand. But for international brands, since we have an interbrand to evaluate the brand, we encourage them. So like, Taiwan, the highest is ASUS, the second is Trend Micro, then Acer, then BenQ and some other company. So I do think maybe in a few years, maybe ASUS or Trend Micro or Acer, they can enter the top 100.
Some people argue that the best way to create a brand is to provide a better infrastructures in Taiwan, including the so-called protection of property rights, intellectual property rights, and so on. But there are complaints about the not healthy infrastructure in terms of protection of intellectual property rights. Do you think that there are more rooms for improvement in that regard?
I do think so. But however, now lots of Taiwanese companies already changed their concept. Before, they copy others. But now they try their best to protect their own property.
And a lot of companies are also investing a lot in their own innovation sectors and so on. And does the government provide any incentives to help them to create more innovative products?
Yes, we have a InnoValue. We have a Taiwan Excellence Award. So for all companies, if they concentrate in this field, the government will support them, not only give them award, but also in exhibition, in competition, we will show their capability. We'll introduce them to the world. So every year we have such kind of competition. We call Taiwan Excellence. So just choose. We in 5 fields. That's why World Economic Forum, they rank Taiwan, I think, before number 4th in the world in the innovation capability.
But with the rise of China, there are concerns about Taiwan losing its competitiveness, vis-a-vis China in particular. Do you think that's the case?
I don't think so, because I think now lots of people, they already think if they cannot have their own brand, if their product cannot be unique in the world, then they cannot compete with Chinese products, or not only Chinese, maybe India or some other Asian country made products.
That's right. So you cannot just move your factory to another place. You just have to upgrade yourself, right?
Yes, their concept totally changed. So they say blue sea in policy.
That's right. And you mentioned about the so-called medical service internationalization project and so on. When we come back, we'll talk about that particular project you've been working on, and also the role of TAITRA in promoting our companies abroad.
For example.
We'll talk about that later when we come back. And let's take a short break and stay with us.